Okay, hey guys, what's going on? Good Shadows here, and I just want to do something a little different today. I just want to tell a story about when I was in intermediate. I think it was, I don't know how I'm going to put this out for you American guys who use a lot of different language than us. I'd say 7th grade or 8th grade or something. Yeah, but I was in intermediate. Oh, yeah, and what you guys watch in the background is just a little bit of Call of Duty Ghost gun game. It's a pretty inspirational gun game, but like this story, the little guy beats the big guy eventually, and, yeah, it's a alright good gameplay. So yeah, what I want to talk to you about today is in one of my school years. Yeah, so this is about when I was in like year 8 or 7. It's a couple of years ago, and I went to HIS, which is Hastings Intermediate School. And the first year there was great. Yeah, because we have 2 years at that school, and the first year was just awesome. I enjoyed my teacher; she was awesome, and all the classmates I had in my classroom, they were awesome. I just got along well, did everything right, and I was a great student. And then it got on to my second year. Every year we assemble into the hall and things, and then we all get our names read out. Long story short, I was in Miss Bench's class. Did not like Miss Bench from the start. She didn't seem like she was a real pretty teacher, and she just looked like she'd be really nice and things. And then she opened her mouth, and then from then on I didn't like her, because as soon as straight away, when you go into a classroom, normally like they write their name on the board and they're really friendly and things, but this teacher wasn't. She didn't have a name up on the board. She kind of just had like this little furry little bouncy stringy toy or whatever it was in her hand. And she was kind of just standing up there, and she kind of just said, "Hello, I'm Miss Bench," and then just read out a load of rules. And then said, like, in a very stern sort of way, "If you guys break any of these rules, I will make sure there is a severe punishment." And like, she bought this little toy that she said she's had since she's a little kid, and she's like, "Last year in Australia, one of my kids gave this kid a haircut. If you do that, there will be a severe she's like, not a nice woman. She doesn't even deserve to be called a woman or a lady, like a monster. But but yeah, she just had this real kind of aggressive way about her that just, wasn't very nice, I guess. And so one day, I was a pretty good kid during school. I wasn't the naughtiest kid in the world. I had a lot of friends, and I mucked around every now and again, got into trouble a little bit. But I was doing great at school. But so like what we normally do is we have like the first 2 subjects, and then we have break. And then during that break we have like 10 minutes eating time, then we have like a half an hour break. And this school was so strict as well. You had to sit down while you were eating, and you had to walk around in 2 perfect lines, which was alright, I guess. It helped grow, like, more, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, stronger? Nah, I'm not thinking of stronger, like more, courteous people. And God, that was a good word for me. And yeah, so I guess that was alright. It wasn't really that bad for us, but, it was just getting a little bit annoying. And a lot of kids, when we were having our eating time, were like leaving food behind and things, and there was a real strict thing about keeping the school clean, because, they're like the best school in the world, apparently, according to all the teachers, because they're all idiots. And oh, pardon me. And yeah, I've just got off finishing this other commentary. But yeah, so like, we were there eating, and then I was eating my apple, and then I put the apple down, look around, couldn't find my apple, and I was like, oh well, because we had assembly straight after that. Because yeah, we have our assemblies during our morning tea times things, during our free time, but whatever. And yeah, so I go down, and then as soon as I stand up, this Ben just like, "Oi, you forgot that apple, DT." And that was my first ever detention I got given, and I was like, oh my god, guys, I've gone into DT, I'm in so much trouble with my family. And they didn't really care, actually, after I told them about it. But I was like, so angry. It's like, really, my first ever DT got happened because I left an apple next to me. It's like, she didn't even know. I might have been going down to pick it up. I might want to just stand up first, stretch my legs, I got a knee injury or something, even though it's highly unlikely, but whatever. So I got to my dean about it, who's a really cool dude, actually. His name's Mr. Kershaw, but, he's a big part in this story later. And, he's a chill dude, but, he gets a little bit angry sometimes. I guess I made him angry later, which is, fair enough for him. But, oh, God, pardon me. What the fuck was that? And so yeah, I got him and I'm talking to them about it. I'm like, hey, look, you know, it's pretty bullshit. Like, obviously I didn't use those words, but like, you know, I shouldn't have got this. He's like, oh yeah, well, just do it anyway, even though if you don't think you should have done it, because, you know, it just made the teachers happy. And we were having sports academy trials then. I was like, oh man, this is like not gonna let me get in the sports academy, which I didn't get in anyway that year because apparently I'm fat shit, even though I'm like skinny as fuck. But whatever. So yeah, he's like, no, don't worry. I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. So yeah, I did it. And then after that, it was just detention after detention after detention for absolutely nothing. And I went to all of it, you know, making up excuses to my parents of why I weren't going to be at school. And then eventually, you know, I just kind of said, you know, enough is enough. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going home doing my own thing. And then I just, you know, decided just to lie to my teacher, to my dean, Miss Kershaw. It took me like why I wasn't there. And then, like, he used to go, Leighton, why weren't you there? Like, why were you there? And I was like, oh, yeah, I was at this wedding, I was at this funeral. Like, the worst excuses, but he was buying all of it, and I was just, like, soaking it all up because of that. So for some reason he was buying them all because he's just retarded. Like, nah, he's an intelligent dude, but still, you know, never trust a smirky little cheeky 11-year-old kid. So eventually, one day, I get a DT and he comes up to me, he's like, you better be at this DT. I'm like, yeah. And, you know, obviously I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm just going to do the same thing. I've been doing it for so long, it's been going great. So, I'm in class sitting down one day, and it's Friday, you know, I'm about to wag. And then I get called into Mr. Kershaw's office, the dean's. I go in there, and, well, I go there with this other girl called Hoyt, I'm like still good friends with today. And she goes in there and she just sorts whatever she's doing out. And then I'm just there like nervous as crap, man. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. The FBI are in there. And then I'm like talking to my friends, I'm like, yo, cover me, give me cover fire while I'm going, you know, scary stuff going on right now. And then I kind of go in and he's like, sit down. So I like sit down. I don't know, he has a voice, nothing like that. That's just what I assume he speaks like nowadays, because he's a scary fuck. But he's like, yeah, sit down, Leighton. I'm like, yes, sir? Because that's what we had to say. We had to say, sir. I'm like, yes, sir. And he's like, Leighton, where's that DT form? Are you coming today? I was like, that DT form? You're like, I so don't have it. And he's like, alright, well, you're not pulling the wool over my eyes anymore. And then he pulls out his cell phone, and he's on his computer, and he's got both of my parents' number. And, like, right now, I'm so, like, fucking scared. Like, I'm shitting my pants, literally. And, I'm like, because my parents knew nothing of this, you know? They didn't know that I've ever had DTs. They've always just been wagging them and making up cool excuses because, you know, I'm brainy and things like that. But, you know, so I'm pretty nervous. And he rings up my dad. I'm like, oh, my God, no, not my dad. The dude that loves me the most. And, you know. So he rings him up, and then my dad's like, oh, wow, that's really disappointing, you know, I'm pretty pissed off about it, and he says pissed off, and I was like, mate, you know, you can't say that's my dean, but he fucking did anyway, because he was angry, man, fuck you know, him being a policeman and all, Jesus Christ, thought he was going to arrest me or something, and then Mr. Chris was like, you hear me, mate, he was pissed, and then, like, he talks to me about job ethic and like how if I'm bad now, I'm gonna be bad later in future, and how I should become I don't know how this came up, but he said I should become a plumber because they earn a lot of money because they work with shit. Those were his words, perfectly. And I quote, "You should be a plumber because they work with shit." That is what he said. No fucking joke. And like I'm just there like, mate, like I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get fucking strangled. I don't give a shit about being a plumber. I'm bloody 11. Like, my main job focus right now is washing the car for $5, you know? And it was just weird, and it was like just a really depressing point in my life. Like, I was getting picked up that day, but no one came to pick me up. I had to walk home. I was bloody miles away, man. A walk was like a fucking hike. Actually, no, I'm exaggerating. I didn't actually live that far away. It's just a lazy prick. But, yeah, it's just another gameplay, actually, of Ghost on Octane. I think it's Octane. I don't actually think it's Octane. It's something, but yeah. I just go absolutely ham in this game. So yeah, from then I was like pretty depressed. I go home and like I see my mum and she's like, Leighton, you've brought the family shame. Well, she didn't, but you know, I love using hyperbole. I don't even know, exaggerating shit. But yeah, so that's pretty much the story. You know, that's how my bitch got me into trouble a lot. But eventually she didn't come to school the next year because, you know, a lot of us just keep going at her the rest of the year. There were 2 girls that got sent out for giving her, like, just answering back and things. So like, I almost got sent out of the class into a different class as well. Like, these 2 girls, they had to go on contracts and things. Like, if you break this rule, you're gonna get sent out of the school. But they didn't care, and like neither did I. I was so close, but luckily for me, the school ended. And there's another story about this other teacher who didn't like me called Mr. Eagle. I'm gonna save for another time after this one goes up. So yeah, like moral of the story. Teachers are fucking gay. So yeah, if you did enjoy that, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Shadows HD, I'll see you later.